In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to adjust pin depth. That is to say, the stacking order of the various pins that you establish in a layer. I've restored the save version of freakishlyhappy.psd found inside the 23 to stored folder. So I've abandoned those changes I made to the long fingers in the previous exercise. And now I'm going to re-enter the Puppet Warp mode by double-clicking on the Puppet Warp item associated with the Jumpus layer here inside the Layers panel. And let's say I want to make him appear to levitate in a kind of lotus position. So I want his legs crossed. I'd go ahead and grab this left-hand knee. And throughout this, by the way, when I'm talking about left body parts and right body parts, it's obviously flipped for him. In other words, I'm modifying the position of what appears to us as being the left-hand leg. It's his right leg. Fair enough. I'm not going to be mentioning that over and over again because it would become cumbersome. I'm just going to drag this left knee to a different location like so, and then drag the right knee like this. Now, if you're working along with me and you notice one leg is cutting through another, that's something I'll come to in a moment. But for now, I'm keeping things clean by just having one calf fully in front of the other one. And let's say that I actually want that right calf to be in front of the left one as opposed to left in front of right the way it is now. Why then I could go ahead and select the left knee as is selected. So you can see that the left knee has the black circle in it. And then I'd go up to pin depth here inside the options bar. And because I want to move it backward, I would click the second icon that says set pin backward like so. And that will move the left calf in back of the right one. I'll go ahead and press Control or Command Z to undo that modification. Alternatively, I could have selected the right knee by clicking on it and clicked on the first pin depth icon in order to move that one forward. So either way is going to work for me. However, notice a curious thing that happens here. Let's say I go ahead and press Control Z or Command Z on the Mac to reestablish the previous stacking order of these legs. And I drag the right leg upward. Notice that it now, at a certain point, is going to carve right through that left-hand thigh and the left-hand calf. And so the stacking order is left thigh, then right calf, and then left calf, because each one of them is somehow separated from the other. It's like he's cut into a paper doll. So what would I do in this case? Well, I could choose to move the right-hand knee all the way backward by clicking on this second icon, like so, and then we have a continuous leg. Or at this point, I could click the first pin depth icon, the one that moves the pin forward. I could click it twice in a row to move that pin all the way forward. So just note, when you see various body parts or other elements of a layer cleaving into each other, then you need to adjust that pin depth setting. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and drag these guys to slightly different positions. You could add pins if you need to gain more control. I'm actually pretty happy with this. Now let's say I decide to get fairly silly with my modifications. I want to move these arms down as well. And that's going to create some big problems because as soon as I move the arm down, notice that inverts the location of his hand. So things don't look all that normal anymore. Not that they showed any signs of looking normal, I should say. It's not just the hand that's the problem, that it's facing the wrong direction and it looks just absolutely horrible. But also we've got some problems with the elbow. I'll go ahead and tuck the elbow in as well and then drag the hand down. And if I want it in the lap, then I would go ahead and move the hand in front of the lap. And you can do that, by the way, if you don't want to have to go up to the option bar all the time, then you can take advantage of your bracket keys. That is the square bracket keys to the right of the P as in Paul key on American keyboards. So pressing the right bracket key will move a pin forward. Pressing the left bracket key will move it backward. I actually like having the arms in back of him, although I don't want him like down here or something like that. I think that looks a little peculiar. I just want them kind of, well, that looks awfully horrible as well. I just want them kind of in back of his back, if I can make that work. And not like he's sitting on him, in other words. And then I'll go ahead and drag this elbow down and drag this hand to this location. It is cleaving through his pants in a very strange fashion, so I'll press the left bracket key as many times as it takes in order to move that hand backward. And then I've got some weird sort of pixels going on right here. Can you see him just barely? You may be able to see him better on your screen if you're working along with me. If you end up with any sort of weird artifacts, just remember you have that stacking order control. Press the left bracket key one or more times in order to eliminate that effect. If it still doesn't go away, as it isn't for me, then you're going to have to move one of the pins to a different location. I might also make him splay out a little bit because I actually think he'd look better with a bigger torso. And now I'm going to click on the shoulders and shift click on some of these other points like so in order to select a bunch of points at the same time and press shift down arrow in order to compress his torso a little bit and go for an effect like this. My gosh, it's terribly attractive, don't you think? But it does give you a sense for how you can modify the stacking order of pins here inside Photoshop.